Hi guys. This video has been a long time coming. I have said in several different videos, we'll get to that later, about health issues with me with thyroid and things like that. And so today I wanted to sit down and tell you my story and tell you why I'm telling you my story and just share with you guys, because it's very important to me that I share what my experience was, so that other people hopefully don't have to experience the same thing, or if you're going through something similar, you have the just drive to keep fighting for yourself. Basically, my major message from this is you have to fight for your health. You are the only one who knows your body better than anyone else. You know it best. You know when things feel off. You know when something's just not right. And you have to go with that. Like, God has given us these instincts, so that we know when things are wrong. And sometimes people don't want to listen. And while there are legitimately people who have issues with always thinking that something's wrong when there's not, or things like that, those are rare. And if you are someone who, like I was or still am, like never goes to the doctor, rarely ever gets sick, just isn't a complainer about things. I have a very high pain tolerance. I've never been somebody who takes pills for things, or I've always avoided that at all costs. And I knew when something was wrong with me. I knew. And so this is my story. I want to just share it with you to encourage you that if you're going through something similar, to not give up, to make sure someone listens to you, because it's important. And you need to find, if you need to go from doctor to doctor until you find the right one who will listen to you and take things seriously and do the tests that are necessary, that's what you have to do. And I let me tell you my story, and you'll see why I feel so passionately about that. So, in about 2012-ish, I just felt awful. I was tired all the time, like in the afternoon. And I mean, I still get like this sometimes, just like because of the busyness of things. In 2012, my youngest was almost 7 years old, so it wasn't like I had babies. So my kids were in school. At the time I was working part-time, but I just knew something was not right. And I got where, like, if it was a day where I only worked a half day and I would have to go back and get my kids from school, I knew I could not sit down in the afternoon, or I would fall asleep and I would miss getting them. I mean, it was just like, I knew I could not sit down without falling asleep. But more so than that, I just didn't feel good. And I would say every day, my kids would still tell you, and my husband, every day I would say, I just don't feel good. Like, something was wrong. And I was just zapped of energy, and I was sad, and I had some depression issues with it, but I knew it was something underlying. Like, there was nothing to be depressed about. There was nothing, and I mean, I know depression works like that anyway, but this was unusual for me. And so I was just very down. I was discouraged because I felt so awful. So I decided, like, enough is enough. My husband was like, something's not right. You need to go to the doctor. Because, like I said, I am not someone who goes to the doctor. I mean, I have to be very, very ill, or something really wrong, to go to the doctor. I'm not someone who runs for every cold, I just don't. So I went to my, primary physician and told him what was going on. And I was still having problems with my migraines and everything. I had been having for years and still do have. And so I was kind of, wanting to address that more, and just telling him, like, I just don't feel good. Like, something is wrong with me. Something's like zapping me of all my energy. And of course, it's kind of the same thing. Well, you're a mom and you're busy, and that became like the thing that people said to me that irritated me really bad, because I'm like, you know what? Like, a huge part of the population is a mom who's tired. This is not that. Like, this is something different. And so I went through stuff with him. Now, let me just say, I am not, you might have guessed this if you've watched my channel for a while, I am not an assertive person. I am not a, like, get in there, get things done kind of person. That is not my personality. I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Like, and I had to get over that in some of these areas, and you'll see why. So I saw him, was doing stuff for migraine, but I was telling him, like, something just doesn't feel right. Like, I just don't feel right, And so he's checking my neck and my thyroid. I said, I really feel like something's wrong with my thyroid. And he's like, well, so he's feeling stuff and whatever. And he's like, well, we'll do some blood work and whatever. So he did, and I was just hoping, like, okay, they're going to find something, and so I can get something taken care of here, right? No. Oh, your thyroid stuff looks great. Like, your iron's a little low, so we're going to have you take something for that. But, and vitamin D is a little low, so let's just go ahead and get you on some of that stuff. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's all it is. Like, awesome. Like, that would be fantastic. So I start taking the supplements and things that he has me, wanting me to take, and I don't feel anything. However, being the way I am and not wanting to rush to the doctor, I wait and I wait. And now about a year has gone by. I don't feel any better. And my husband's going, you need to go get this taken care of. Like, this is not normal. So I go back to my primary physician, who sends me to see an endocrinologist. So I go to see this woman. She walks in and looks at me and she goes, there's nothing wrong with your thyroid. You look perfectly healthy. Like, she hasn't even spoken to me yet to hear what I'm experiencing, nothing. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you. I don't know, like, I'm glad I look healthy, but I feel terrible. And so she's like, so what are you here for? Like, what do you think? And it was very like that. She was very like, just like, why are you even here? And so I start telling her the different things. And she says to me, well, you're a mom. You're busy. You're just tired and worn out and blah, blah. No, something's not right. Like, I can feel it. I don't feel right. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, you know your body. You know when things are off, right? So I go through that with her. She basically tells me, well, we'll do your blood work, but I can tell you right now by looking at you that there's nothing wrong with you. It was very condescending to me and rude, and I felt like she didn't listen to me at all. She made an assumption as soon as she walked in the door and didn't bother to listen to anything else I said, is what I felt like. And so, of course, the blood work comes back. Everything's fine. Your thyroid's fine. Okay. So here I go again, another year. So now fast forward to 2015. So, I mean, here I've gone a few years here with nothing. So since 2012, going in the initial time to tell them, like, I feel like something's wrong. So it's just increasingly getting worse. I have no energy. My hair is super thin. I'm just losing hair like crazy. I have like literally like a bald spot in my hair. I get bald spots on my eyebrows. My heart races like crazy all the time. All these different things. And all these different things that clearly are not normal for someone who's supposed to be so healthy. And so I went in actually for something unrelated to a surgeon for something else. And I said to him while I was there, I just don't, like, I've been having these issues for a few years and no one's listening to me and whatever. Because he just, how some doctors, you can just tell, like, they have this bedside manner and they actually care and want to listen to you. So he's like, well, I don't like the sound of that. And he's like, why don't I send you, right next door to him was a ENT. Because I was telling him also that with my migraines, I've had migraines for years, but I was getting where in my throat and into my jaw and into my ear, like I was having so much pain that it was making me like about insane when I would have a migraine. I mean, as if a migraine isn't bad enough already, but then I was having this, it was like intense earache, and then, but all into my jaw and my neck. And so he's like, I don't like that at all. Like, let's send you to the ENT, have them, take a look in that area and see what's going on and whatever. So I went there, and the ENT goes through this whole thing, and he's like, you know, does the thing down your nose, you know, and check and whatever, which is really uncomfortable. And basically ends up telling me, you know, you're a migraine sufferer, and people who suffer from migraines are much more aware, like, of small things in their bodies, like whatever, like just like how my sense of smell is extremely heightened and things like that. So he's like, being that you are, you know, have that type of whatever senses, you have senses that are more acutely aware, I guess, or something. He said, what it looks like is that your tonsil is swollen, and he said that little tiny food particles or things can get in them and make them swell up, and people get it all the time, but they don't know it because they don't feel it. But since I'm somebody who's more acutely aware of things, that's what I'm feeling. And I'm like, I don't think that's it. Like, okay. So when I went back to the surgeon, I told him, and I'm like, I really don't think, and he's like, I don't think so either. So he said, you know what? We're going to order you a CT scan of your neck. And I'm like, okay. Like, he was like on the ball. I was not seeing him for anything to do with that. But when he heard me tell him what was going on with that, was just like, I don't like the way this sounds. So I went in, had a CT scan done, and sure enough, they could see nodules on my thyroid. So he's like, okay, there's a couple different things we could do here. He said, we could wait and watch and see if they grow, or we could have them biopsied. And I was like, you know, I don't know. And at first I'm like, I think I want to wait. I don't know yet. Like, just the idea of the needle biopsy freaked me out, right? He's like, well, you think it out. This is for you to decide, and you just let me know what you would like to do. Well, after talking to my husband and a friend of mine who was a doctor, who I didn't realize at the time, I grew up with her. She was my best friend all through, you know, elementary school and middle school. And in high school, we drifted apart a little, but we were still friends. And, you know, I kind of was talking to her about it, and she's like, this is what I do. I do, like, she does a lot of, she's a general practitioner, but she does more like natural medicine. And she's like, I deal with thyroid stuff a lot and hormones. And so she's like, I think you should do the biopsy. And she said, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if it were me, I think I would get it done, just given the circumstances and everything. So I trust her, and I know she cares about me. So I was like, okay. So I let the surgeon know, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do the biopsy. So he scheduled for me to go in and have that done. So I went in, had the needle biopsy done. It was not bad. Like, I thought it was going to be terrible. I bruised pretty good after, but it was not anything like in my mind what it was going to be. Basically, they put needles in your neck and they suck stuff out of the different nodules to see what comes back. If it's, you know, something cancerous, or if it's just clear fluid or whatever it is, you know. So the tests come back, and they can't say that it's cancer, but they can't say it's not. But there's something there that shouldn't be. So now I'm left with, okay. So he's like, the surgeon's kind of like, same thing here. Okay, so we could wait, see if it grows or is giving you problems, biopsy it again, and see if we get different results. However, the technician said, I don't think you're going to be able to get more out of this than what we just did, kind of thing. So I'd have to wait for it to grow to be able to do it. He said, or, you know, go in and have surgery done, basically, to get it out of there just to be safe. And so he said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you to an endocrinologist here and have you talk to them, since that's something they specialize in, get their opinion, you know, and then come back. We'll talk about it some more. I mean, he was just awesome. So I go to see this endocrinologist. She says, if it were me, I'd get it out of there. So I'm like, okay. And she's like, again, your choice, because it doesn't say conclusively, so they could go in and it's nothing, and then you could be taking out healthy thyroid tissue. But if it's not healthy thyroid tissue, then you want it out of there, kind of thing. So now I'm like, oh gosh, like in this kind of in between, you know, I'm talking to my husband about it and just trying to decide what I want to do. And so I'm back at my surgeon. He says, I'll tell you what, I think with anything like this, you should get, you know, several opinions. And he said, you know, this is a surgery I could do, but I don't specialize in this. And he said, I would rather send you to someone who I know this is what they do and would take really good care of you and really be able to, you know, tell you what's going on. So he sent me down to Henry Ford in Detroit to see a surgical oncologist there. So I went down to see this oncologist. My husband was with me and everything because I don't drive because I have driving anxiety. And so we went down there, and this guy, he's looking at my, you know, results, all my paperwork and stuff, and he said, if you were my mom, my sister, my wife, I tell you, get that out of there. And he's like, you know, again, your choice. This is completely your choice because there are no conclusive, you know, results from the biopsy that it is cancer. But if it was somebody I love, I tell them to get it out of there. So I'm like, that was good enough for me. My husband and I left there very confident that we were making the right choice. We scheduled surgery, and that was what we were going to do. So along came Friday, July 22nd, 2016, and I went in to have my thyroid surgery. They were planning a complete thyroidectomy, just take the whole entire thing out because there are nodules on both sides. And so I went in, and maybe you have noticed if you watch my videos and seen it, maybe you haven't, or maybe you're just noticing it now because now you're really paying attention to my neck. But this is my scar. My surgeon, so this is from 3 years ago. Eventually you won't even be able to tell, but he did it perfectly where it's in one of the natural folds of your neck so that as it fades, it will just look like one of my natural neck folds. I think he did an incredible job. I keloid scar typically, so I was expecting to have a big, horrible scar. I was going to show you, but I can't get my shirt sleeve down, but I have a scar kind of under my armpit on my side over here that's about this long and about this thick that used to be an extremely large, sticking out, bright red keloid that now over the years, because the last time I had surgery there I was 16, has gone down a lot, but still you can see it. I was expecting that on my neck because I scar terribly. I had a mole biopsy done on my back, and I still have a scar from that, and that was probably 10 years ago. I scar terribly. And so I fully expected and just had in my mind, you might have this big scar on your neck, and that's okay. But he did an incredible job, and people in my family and stuff are like, I don't even think about it anymore. I don't even see it. And I'm like, well, I really don't either. I mean, I put a little bit of concealer on it every day, but I took very good care of it afterward. Always made sure that I had sunscreen on it and things like that. So, but anyway, that's beside the point. My test results came back. I had my surgery done, and 3 days later, it was our church camp time, and I had told the surgeon, I'm like, I'm going to church camp. And he's like, you're crazy because I don't know how you're going to feel. And he said, but as long as you keep it covered with a bandage so dirt and stuff can't get in it, you go ahead and just, you do what you can do. If you're tired and stuff, you're going to need to relax and, whatever. I think you can, take care of yourself that way. So I went to church camp, and all of my friends were praying for me, and it was actually a very sweet time too. They all came down to my trailer the night before I was going to get my results, and they all prayed with me, and it was really awesome. So I'm so thankful for good friends who love me and care for me that way. And so my husband and I went. Unfortunately, I woke up that morning in our trailer at camp with a massive migraine, and story of my life. And so we headed down to Detroit to, and it was about 2 hours from where we were, to get the results of, having my thyroid taken out. They took the complete, it was a complete thyroidectomy, so it took the whole thyroid, plus they took some lymph nodes from around the area to test to make sure if there was anything, it hadn't spread, that kind of thing. So my surgeon was thrilled with the way I was doing. I didn't lose any. Some people can lose their voice for a little while and stuff like that. I didn't have any of that. He actually said that he said when I came out of surgery, he's like, your throat's gonna be sore anyway, and he's like, but it might be a little extra sore. He goes, because you have an amazing, and I don't remember what it was called, but basically they use this tool and they touch your vocal cords to test them during surgery to make sure they're not damaging them, and so they sort of bounce or something. Like, that's how they can tell if they're still doing what they should be. And so he said he was having other doctors come and look, and interns and stuff, to see, because mine reacted like so much. And so it was kind of like a good learning tool. Thank you for using my neck. Which my husband was like, oh my gosh, because actually before my surgery, I had him all freaked out, because he's like, why would you even be looking at pictures like this? And don't show them to me, because I was looking online of like the surgery when they do it, and they basically have your, which actually my neck was kind of sore. They have your neck really far back, and then they open it all up. So it's like open, because yeah, the scar is this way, so it opens up. And so it does look pretty gross. But so anyway, when I went in for my results and stuff, he was like, you're doing so well, like healing really fast, especially for not like just being at home relaxing. I was like at camp, and which honestly I think was the best place to be. I said there's no better place to heal from something like that, and both physically and emotionally, than surrounded by people who love you like crazy and who love Jesus like crazy, just like you do, and you're all praising him together and praying for each other. Like, there is no better way to recover from something. And so he took like the glue that was on the outside, and there were stitches that were on the inside. He just kind of pulled some of the stuff, and it was looking really good. And so then he told me it was cancer. And so thankful we got it out of there. And he said, and the best part is the cancer was all contained in the nodules. It was encapsulated. So it did not, the cancer had not come out anywhere. So all of the lymph nodes around it that they took were clear, everything. There was no cancer tissue that had gotten anywhere. It was all encapsulated on the thyroid nodules. So that was fantastic news, and just confirmation that we did the right thing by taking it out. And you know, it was such like the end of, not the end, but kind of to a journey that had been so long for me. For 4 years, I was just trying to get somebody to listen to me. I knew something was wrong with my body. I knew what I was feeling, and I knew it was my thyroid. I don't know why I knew, but I knew. Well, I do, because God was telling me, keep going, this is what it is. And finally got this amazing surgeon who was seeing me for something completely unrelated, who looked at me and said, like, I hear what you're saying, and I agree, like, this needs to be looked into. And so now my best friend growing up, that's the doctor that deals with thyroid stuff and everything all the time, she is my doctor. She takes amazing care of me. I am on natural thyroid medication, which is made from pig thyroid, actually. And so I'm not taking you know, synthetic thyroid medications, which cause all sorts of issues for people. Look it up. And I have been thriving. I lost a lot of weight. My hair has grown back in. I don't get as many, like, you know, little bald spots. I know when I start feeling a certain way that my medication needs to be adjusted. I get you know, blood tests done every so many months to make sure that my levels are where they're supposed to be, and so that we keep some things, you know, that need to be really low, so that cancer can't come back somewhere, or won't be as likely to. And I'm doing so well, and I can't believe I lived so long feeling yucky when I didn't have to. And we then discovered, like, I've got some hormone issues, which are things that we're treating. My migraines have gotten so much better because of working on the hormone levels. I mean, my whole body was just so out of whack because my thyroid was not functioning properly. It was functioning as like hypothyroid. However, when you go to the doctor and you have blood work done for your thyroid, they do not test all the necessary things, which is why they kept telling me that mine was fine, and it was not. So, and I went to an endocrinologist that had tested this and told me that. So, trust your own instincts and find a doctor who will listen to you and do the proper blood work, because once we got the right things done, it showed a whole different picture. And clearly, it showed the picture of what was actually going on with my body and what I needed to have taken care of. One of the major things that used to just freak me out is my heart would just race like crazy. just, I mean, you could see it. I felt like I was running when I was sitting still. The day that I went in for surgery, actually, a sweet pastor from our church came all the way down there to the hospital, and he sat with me and my husband, and I mean, in pre-op for hours, because we were kind of backed up, like my surgery started late. He sat there for hours and talked with us and prayed with us. He had me so calm and just like, it was just such a wonderful experience as far as going into surgery can be. And when the anesthesiologist came over to just talk to me and just check things, he's like, does your heart normally do this? Because you're really like tachycardia. And I said, oh, it does it all the time. And he's like, that's a common symptom of like hypothyroid. Okay, he knew it. Like, so these things that had been happening for all these years that were common symptoms of thyroid issues and just weren't being addressed. So I'm doing amazing. 3 years later, I just celebrated 3 years since my surgery, and I'm doing so well. I feel good. It's just made a world of difference. And I just am so thankful that I trusted what God was telling me about my own body. Like, keep going till you find somebody who listens, because it's so important. You have to advocate for yourself. So all of this to say, I am making some major changes in our family's lives, as far as the products that we clean our home with, that we use for lovely smells in our house, for skincare products for myself, hair care, body care. I am doing a whole overhaul of things like that, because I have been doing a lot of research and learning a lot of things about the stuff that we put on and in our bodies, and how it is so horrible for us. And after going through something like this and knowing cancer was in my body, and once you've had cancer of some type, you're more likely to have it somewhere else at some point. And I want to make sure that I am doing everything that I can to keep that from happening. Now, it could still happen. I'm well aware of that. But I am thankful I had a cancer that was not a spreading cancer. It was not an aggressive cancer, anything like that. A lot of people will say, I had the best kind of cancer there is. That's also a really annoying thing to say to someone. Don't say that to somebody. Like, nobody has cancer in their body that it's like, oh, no big deal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like freak out about it, but there was cancer in my body, and like, I'm going to try to make sure that that doesn't happen again as much as as I'm able. And so, there are a lot of things in our lives that we have no control over, that we're exposed to when we're out places, and just, at our jobs, at school, at work is your job. You know what I'm saying? I'm just out and about. There are things in our environment that we have no control over. But when we're at home, that is our most controllable environment. And that is where most of us spend most of our time. And so, or where we spend a lot of our time. And so I want to make sure that my home is filled with things that are healthy and safe for myself and my family. There are a lot of things that are known hormone disruptors and cancer-causing agents that are in our, skincare and body care products. Our candles are horrific for you. Laundry detergent and fabric softener sheets and all that stuff, horrible for you. Do the research. Look online. Trust me, it blows my mind that they can sell this stuff to us to use in our homes, on our children. Like, it blows my mind. And so I wanted to share with you guys my story, what I went through, and so that you have an idea of why the things that I have coming up on my channel, why they're there. I didn't just decide to become all hippy dippy, although I'm totally cool with smelling like a hippie. Like, I just wear like essential oil bracelet and stuff all the time now. But it's not because I'm just like, ooh, this is the latest fad and I want to do this and I want to tell you all about it. No, there's an absolute reason for it. I want to make these changes for myself and my family. I'm doing my research like crazy. And I'm doing it so I can share it with you guys, so you don't even have to research that much, but you still should. You still should. I mean, you should always be aware of what you're doing and why. And I'm so excited to share with you guys some of the changes that I'm making, and just share with you guys about different things that are going on in my family and, with people in my family and myself because of changes that we are making. We are already seeing significant things happen for us. And I'm talking my husband, my boys, myself. So I cannot wait to share with you guys what I'm doing, because I am passionate about this. I want what's best for myself and my family, and I want what's best for you and your family. And I want us to be aware of the things. It's so hard when we're so busy, because we try to do what's easiest, what's quickest, what's, cheapest, but when it really comes down to it, none of that stuff matters if we're unhealthy. Like, oh, I didn't spend much money on this, but now we're sick, or we're breathing in these things, or it's causing issues that we're going to have later down the road. Well, that's not so cheap anymore, is it? Because now you have all these medical bills and things that you need to take care of. Or like, oh, my child has breathing issues, and we're always having to be in the doctor, and there might be things that are in your home that you are completely unaware of. And I'm saying none of us are doing this on purpose. We love our families. The problem is that it's even being sold to us, and we are so unaware of what is in them. So there may be things that are issues that people in your family have, that there are things in our homes that are causing it, that it's not something that we need to medicate. It's something we need to eradicate from our home, and we'll see a major difference. We are seeing those things. So that is why I want to share with you guys. So this is my story. I hope that you guys will just leave me some, comments down below. Let me know, have any of you had thyroid issues? What do you do? What kind of medications do you take? I would love to talk to people about that kind of stuff too, because I feel very strongly about what I'm taking, finding the right doctor who will allow you. You're not going to find very many doctors who are going to not let you take, but basically who will treat you. Let me put it this way. The surgical oncologist said, I just want you to go see this one, endocrinologist in your area. She's great. I just go see her. If you like her and want to stay with her, that would be awesome. But if you don't, you can stay with your, friend who's a doctor, kind of thing. I'm like, all right, I'll go see her. She was insistent that I be on Thyroid. No, you need to start on Thyroid, You also need to have radioactive iodine, just in case there's any thyroid tissue left in there that could possibly regrow and cause you issues. You need to have it. Well, I'm like, I want to do some research on that, and I had already been doing research before the surgery actually about that, because I knew that was a possibility of something that they could suggest. With all of the research I did on that, with the type of cancer that I had and how it was encapsulated and everything, and talking to my friend who's a doctor and who I know cares about me greatly, so she's not going to tell me not to do something that I should be doing, or to do something that I shouldn't be, and talking to another girl that I went to high school with who had to have her thyroid removed and did do the radioactive iodine, and all of the horrible side effects she has dealt with since then. I was like, no, thank you. Like, just didn't think it was necessary. That my friend that's a doctor, she said, given your circumstances, I don't think I wouldn't play with it, because it's a horrible thing to put into your body if you don't have to. But again, it's your choice, And I researched it myself to make the decision. My husband and I together, no, we don't want to do that. But anyway, this endocrinologist, she wanted me to do that. And then she also wanted me to take Thyroid and was just dead set on it. And I was like, I really don't want to. I really want to take a natural thyroid medication. Going back and forth. Her office called me one day and said, Dr. So-and-so, unless you will take Thyroid, she will no longer be seeing you as a patient. I said, okay, well, thank you. Bye. Are you kidding me? Like, no. And let me also tell you, there's a website out there, which I need to find it, that you can go on and look and see what different doctors are paid by pharmaceutical companies. She was one of the top paid ones in our area from pharmaceutical companies. Why do you think that is? Because she pushes synthetic prescriptions. Like, I knew that was what it was. She did not have my, health in mind at all. So be very cautious about stuff like that and fight for yourself. And so, yeah, so that is my story, and I'll stop blabbing because this is really long, but thank you so much if you guys finished listening, and I cannot wait to share with you the changes I'm making, and just share my heart with you for your family as well, because I think this is so important. It's something that we can do together, and when we help each other out with stuff, it becomes much easier to take on, I feel like. So thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.